started. I don't know what episode number this is. I lose track. It's probably 5 or 6. So welcome to the Shot 3D. Welcome to Shot the 3D Experience podcast / YouTube. And today we got Mike and Pam Pitts. They are advisors for Rolling Bones Outdoors. They're also a staff members for Shot the 3D Experience. They've been with us for basically 2 years, really. Kind of just volunteered, fell in, started helping us out last year, and they've been at every event this year too. So Mike and Pam, welcome. We're going to talk a little bit about Rolling Bones and what you guys do, and then just talk about life too. So yeah, Ryan, you want to take it away?
Yeah, so you guys just recently became advisors for Rolling Bones.
Back in February.
February this year, so first time doing that. And it's kind of neat having you guys on board because Rolling Bones being a sponsor, when everybody's over there doing the novelty shots, you guys can hit up them guys, and you guys got to shoot some courses with some guys too. So
yeah,
pretty neat deal. So kind of give us a little rundown on what you guys do for Rolling Bones.
Well, as an independent advisor for Rolling Bones, we run pretty much our own separate agency through the hub and through South Dakota as our headquarters.
Yep.
And it's a two-part deal. So we help maintain and manage and build point strategies. The other half of the company is outfitted hunts. We work with over 500 vetted outfitters, offer over 1,400 hunts, I believe. It's crazy how many we have.
Quite a few. I know.
It's a lot.
And me and Jeremy, both Rolling Bones members, and I got Cannon signed up for that, so there's some awesome opportunities out there for that stuff. But I know Adam texts us all the time for hunts that pop up and this and that, so
You can save a lot of money on last minute deals. If you can leave this week, you can save some money.
Yeah.
He sent me texts on black bear, moose, all kinds of stuff, and it was like, this weekend, but
he's going to get me divorced is what's going to happen.
Yeah, a fraction of the cost of what you would, an outfitted hunt, right?
Mm-hmm.
So these are hunts that were pre-booked,
Pre-booked.
and somebody canceled for whatever reason.
For some reason, their cancellation, they're trying to fill their tags.
Yeah, awesome. So there's the outfitter side of Rolling Bones.
Yeah.
And there's several different levels of memberships that you can get, right?
Yeah, we have 3 levels of membership. You got your silver, gold, and platinum. Your silver is just a base level membership, puts you in for all the outfitted hunts, and you'll get a pretty decent discount on all gear companies we work with.
Yeah.
The gold membership starts out as one person membership. Start building your points. You get 1 consultation a year and go from there. The platinum is the family package.
Right.
And the ultimate deal is 2 adults, kids or grandkids under the age of 18. Start building their preference points up. You get in on the platinum, it's all primary, secondary draws, everything at your fingertips. And it's a full concierge service. So when you decide you want to book an adventure hunt with an outfitter, then we also become your travel agents and set up your travel and everything as well.
Oh, sweet. I didn't know that.
I didn't either. That's one part I didn't know. That's pretty handy.
Does that platinum membership include the no guide fees, or is that a separate deal?
That's a separate deal. That's the Diamond Advantage plan.
The diamond one. Okay, that's what. Yeah.
The hunting insurance, I absolutely love that plan. If you're going to hunt in them 5 states, you're almost stupid not to have it.
Right.
If you're already hunting there.
Yeah.
Right.
Explain that a little bit in detail.
So our listeners kind of know what we're talking about there.
So what the Diamond Advantage plan is, we work with Diamond Outfitters, and it's a partnership with him.
Dan
Adler, yeah. He owns the largest veteran-owned outfitting business in the United States, and he's one of the largest outfitters, period. He runs outfitters in 5 different states. It's Utah, Nevada, New Mexico, Arizona, and Wyoming. And any hunt you put in for, if you're a member of that plan and you draw out, because it's in the units they already guide in, so they're trophy units, no guide fees, no, what do you call it, lodging, food, everything. At that point, all you're paying for is your tag, your travel there and back, and gratuities.
Right. Wow. So what's that cost up front?
$800 a year.
$800 a year covers your guide fees, your lodging, your travel.
Yeah, if you draw out, it's covered.
And if you
the only thing it probably doesn't cover is like your tips, right?
Yeah.
Gratuities, yep.
That's pretty awesome. And if
It's an add-on to the $200 plan
And
for
500.
Rolling Bones, or the 500. Yeah,
right,
it's an
so add on to
it.
the gold or the diamond.
Platinum.
But if you're already putting in for them 5 states, it don't matter if you draw one hunt in one in another. You can draw as many times as you put in, because all the states he offers that he guides in are true deals where anybody has a legitimate chance of drawing out from year 1 on.
Gotcha. Well,
Awesome.
I mean, that's kind of went over the gold package, the silver package, and the platinum, the diamond, the no guide fees. Like, I want to talk a little bit about poor boys like me and Brian, how we use it. I haven't done an outfitted hunt ever. But what we use it for is just applying for our tags and not having to worry about deadlines, not having to worry about all the rules and regulations of how to apply. Like, that's a big stress off of like my shoulders.
It's huge when you don't have to manage your own accounts in every state, keep up with all rules and regulations.
All of the deadlines, people miss them all the time.
Oh, I'm horrible on that.
Well,
I'm worst about my own state. That's
missed
the one
the
I'm bad
Oklahoma
about.
one for the last couple of
Yeah.
years because we just don't think about it.
I hit my nephew up the other day, which he's going to buy a membership for him and his boys here in a month or two. But that's what I set him up, hit him text message, April 1st when Oklahoma's opens up. I was like, hey, it's open. All right, thanks. And I'll remind him about midway through. And I didn't remind him on the last day. I ran into him on Father's Day. I said, did you draw out for anything? He said, I forgot to put in. Like, you literally have a month and a half.
Yeah.
And you were reminding them.
Yeah. Oh, and that is one
But
thing I will say.
all we do is like,
the reminders
we just
are
tell.
there. Email, text messages. Not only from like you may sign up with you, but you may get an advisor reminding you from further out. But Adam's reminders.
Yeah.
Everybody that's on that.
Your agent's going to be on your butt about it. And not in a bad way, but like in a very good way. Adam's great. And
No, that's what's great. But he is my agency manager, so
Yeah.
I'm under him. So if you're not hearing from me, which you are because I'm anal about it, you will be hearing from Adam.
for sure. And like, and he, like your cousin deal, like if he hasn't heard back from you, he'll keep asking you. You know, like he pounded us about Oklahoma.
Oklahoma, that's one of them telling.
And he knows us pretty well. Like, we told him, we want to do it. We're busy, and well, we got a little bit of time. And a couple of days goes by. He goes, which ones do you want? And we didn't apply at all. Like we didn't get online and apply.
No.
We said we want this, and this. This is what we want to draw for. And
The good thing with Oklahoma is there's limited archery, and that's what we did this year was just all archery. So it was go through there and just look at the archery hunts and say, all right, these are the 5 I want.
And for our other hunts, Nebraska, Arizona, those are like hunts that we do repeatedly every year. So it's the same as last year.
Yep, fill out that
Same as
sheet.
last year.
That's what I love about the consultation. So as a gold member, you get one consultation with headquarters a year, whether your agency manager works with you or not. So they'll sit down if at renewal in January, be like, all right, what are you thinking about this year?
Yep.
Let's just get it lined out. And then if I have anything, we have the active live dashboard. You can watch it
Yeah.
play out. So if you change your mind or you want to add something else, you can do that at any time you want.
Yeah.
And I like that too, because I'll pull it up. I'll look at the states that we've applied for. They make notes on each one. I
Rule
click on
changes.
Nebraska, and it says so-and-so has texted Brian and Jeremy about this group application on this date. And I'm like, oh yeah, I remember they did that.
Yeah.
So we're good.
Another cool thing is all the rule changes too. They keep up with that. I mean, if you're hunting more than 2 or 3 states, everything changes.
Everything
it's tough
out
to keep
west
up with, man.
changes.
It is
every
tough
couple
to keep
years,
up
it seems
with.
like.
And that's one thing, like I said, the emails, text messages, just talking with Adam, talking with you guys, like, hey, did you know Nebraska went to a straight draw this year or whatever, and it's like, gosh, dang it.
A big one this year is Colorado's first year as a draw for elk.
Mm-hmm.
Threw a wrench in a lot of people's plans because they don't pay attention.
Yep.
It's just has always been, well, it didn't draw out. I'll go over the counter.
Yeah.
Right. Not no more.
Not no more.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Yeah, and I mean, they're a sponsor of ours, yes, but we use them. Like, this isn't a like just a plug because they're a sponsor. if you get on our TikTok, we do little reviews of some of our sponsored products, but we're doing them because we believe in the product, like Scent Thief and Sever, and the guys that we use as sponsors are products that we actually believe in. And I haven't had any bad dealings at all with Rolling Bones. I think it's great. And one thing's for sure, it's getting harder and harder every single year to hunt out of state.
Yep.
And sometimes even in state, you know, depending on where you live in the country. But this is just one tool that's relatively cheap, $100-$200 a year, can get you some stress-free.
Yeah, man. One thing I like to always hit on, I've talked about it on here before, is I got Canon signed up. That's one thing I wish as a kid my dad would have did, something like that.
That's
you know, thinking about it. He's 7 years old and he's already got Maine moose points. He drew in this year to James Collins. It's his first one he ever got to draw into.
He's
So
gonna kill a giant.
yeah, I mean, me and Jeremy have turkey hunted down there, and
We're down there a lot.
yeah.
I like it there.
It's funny, after that happened, you sent me message. I got messages from 5 or 6 different people. Like Hunter Stubblefield lives right there close. He's like, hey, I'm 5 minutes if you guys want to stay here. But I think I'm going to try to take him camping and do the whole experience and stay out there.
It's a good time.
Yeah.
I'll put him in some good spots. Same way when I told Ryan when Brindley drew out and where she did.
Yeah,
I'm like,
she got Pushmatall, didn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got her covered. That's my focus this fall is to get them two on absolute.
Yeah,
giants.
that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
And we appreciate that. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
we won't talk about location on air, but we can talk about James Collins a little bit. We've been up there a little bit too. So
I like it because it's archery only, except for those draw hunts for
Same
the
way
kids.
with Pushmatall.
Yeah, is it?
You're looking at
that's awesome.
two public units in the state of Oklahoma. One's a little over 19,000 acres. One's a little over 23,000 acres.
So one of those two butts up to my lease.
Yeah.
Like I was telling Ryan, I was like, dude, I can get you backdoor entrance on some of the hard to get to area because like it butts up to the lease, but it's like that section of the public land is like, oh, you gotta really want to get back there. I really want to get back there.
Well, where I was first spot, I'll probably put them two or to look at when we go scouting. From the tent primitive camping area, you're looking at a 45-minute drive on them roads.
Yeah,
just
I'm
to
sure.
drive back there.
Yeah, the lease at least takes me 2 hours to drive around it.
Yeah.
Like it's ridiculous.
They're old logging roads and goat trails back there, man. There's some,
There's goats on the goat trails.
We like to shed hunt down there quite a
Oh,
bit.
yeah.
That's a lot of roads.
When we were setting up deer stands last year on the lease, we were driving down the road, and I look over at about 200 yards down a little clear cut in the pines. I saw 3 little like antlers sticking up, and I like slammed on the brakes. And Amber and Josh were with me. They're like, "What?" I was like, "Hang on!" And I threw it in the park and opened the door and started running out there. And they're like, "What is he doing?" It's about 200 yards off the road. I picked it up. It's like, and they're like, "Holy crap! How'd you see that?"
Yeah.
He does that
that's a
all the
good
time.
Jane died, man. I found a few on a turnpike driving home. Roadies.
I like to cheat with. So if we go to Pushmatall, I'll wait till they do their prescribed burns,
Yeah.
and then you'll be. It's insane how many you can pick up
Oh yeah.
Oh, I bet.
within 100 yards of the road.
I bet. I wish we'd have hit Kansas right after a burn. Holy crap.
I cleaned up pretty good in Kansas.
I'm telling you, man.
Came
Yeah.
home with 6 of them.
We had to walk past a bunch of things.
Oh, I know.
I struck out on the courses this year. I picked up one dinosaur from Louisiana, but it's a state knocked off my list.
Yeah.
I got one in Iowa. It was horrible. Like it's an antler, but
Yeah.
you know,
I did get an
Was it a
arrowhead.
Tyler Watkins antler? It's like those are harder to find than the
No,
big
I know,
ones,
that
dude. I
is
don't know
right.
how you
it's
found
like
that.
crumbly, kind of like his was in Louisiana.
Yep.
It still
Cannon got
counts
one in
though.
Louisiana, but it was Brandon Hall found it behind one of the targets looking for one of the kids' arrows, and he ended up giving it to Cannon. But
Yeah.
That's the one I found. It was the last target I picked up off of Tybo's course, and me and Jeremy met about the same time, and it was literally within 2 foot of the target.
that's
Yeah.
crazy.
How,
You get-
how it went through setup, hundreds
Shooting.
of people shooting that target, not being seen.
Yeah, it's crazy, man, because you get so tied up when we're setting targets on placement, all these other things, putting the ribbon, making sure everything looks good, the exit. You're looking, but not like you would be if you're really shed hunting. And then, you know, I've had guys bring crap up there and like, hey, I found this out by target 6. I'm like, God dang it, I set that target. Like,
I had a hard time staying on track, and you followed. When we went to pick up, I looked like a beagle wanting to run trails.
yeah.
I'm like,
oh, I know. There's that one spot where you ended up jetting off because you're like, damn, that's too good of an area. I got to go look real fast. Now.
Well, at Eufaula, the hog I think it was a hog target on Tyba's course. We were mapping it out.
Yeah.
And I was standing there, and then
Oh yeah.
you
yeah,
walked right up to where I was standing. And
That
I
was
went
a
off
Rolling
look-
Bones
I went-
course.
I went off looking for a shed. And
Yeah.
he's like, "Dude, you were stepping on one." And it was a nice
his
one.
footprint was literally in the creek, and that Antler was laying
I was
there.
looking all out here, it's right
It
underneath
was a
me.
good one.
That's the same way Tyler's deadhead, he picked up it.
Oh, I know.
Stepped
It
on
was
it.
right there.
I saw the
did.
skull, and it was buried in
Oh,
the
yeah.
in the mud and the grass, and I saw the skull, and I thought it was a doe skull, and he's like, "Hell, looky here." I was like, "Yeah, I saw that." He picks it up. I was like, "Oh shoot, I didn't notice it had horns on it."
Yeah.
But yeah, you get in a zone out there when you're setting targets, so it's tough to. You still have your mindset to try to look for
Yeah,
them,
it's hard
find
to
them,
do
but
both.
Mhm.
It is.
That's
But, yeah.
you were down there at the targets. Were you setting targets when that fawn was laying right there next
Oh,
to you?
yeah.
Yeah, that was on the ASA course. in
Yeah,
Tulsa.
we were
Yeah,
kind of
post
just
oak,
all
yeah.
zoned out, and it's just laying there
Nope.
watching us put up targets.
we at Mulberry had a fawn story
Oh,
last
yeah.
year. We had all the targets laid out there at base camp, getting ready to set them up, watch Wallacrete and this and that, and the grass was high. They hadn't mowed in the back yet where we normally had the practice range. And we're just sitting there talking, and all of a sudden I was like, "What is that?" It was in the grass. I thought it was a coyote running through there. And this little sucker come running up right through the targets.
Bouncing, running. Choo,
Yeah,
choo,
bouncing.
choo.
And I mean, came 5 foot from us right there in the targets, looking around like confused, like, what are all these animals doing here?
Well, we had a couple deer targets laying
Yeah.
up. I think it thought Mama was
Yeah.
up there, and
And
it ran right up to the target,
bounced right up to us.
10, 15 feet away from
Yeah.
us.
It was kind of funny.
So we leave
It's-
those targets set up next to the house, and we'll have the turkeys walk around
Yeah.
through them, looking at the targets. Like, why is this turkey not moving around?
Yeah, Bobby and Tyler said when they or no, I'm sorry, it was Savannah and Preston Doty when they were shooting the Wild Creek course at Post Oak, the Wild Creek turkey that we had up on 19. The turkeys were out there gobbling around him.
Yeah.
So
I do every spring at the house.
yeah,
My poor turkey targets get flogged. I don't know
Yeah,
how
they
many
do. They'll
times.
come in and fight them. It's fun watching
Yeah.
out there.
yeah. That's one of the cool things I think about setting up courses is the exploring you get to do in some of that stuff, and I think what makes it the true experience is you're getting to go through. It's not pre-cut lanes. Like, this is stuff that we go out there and walk around through, and
Step
so
on
being
Copperhead
step on, had a couple of Copperhead experiences out there. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
They saved you with a machete.
Oh yeah, Mike saved my life on that one. It was slow motion, the head rolling off when I had to have stepped on the dang thing, but we moved the target away from that area. So
So if you're ever shooting a shot course and you're like, I wonder why they put the target over here. It's either we avoided a snake or we were shed
there's
hunting.
something we avoided. Yeah,
We were looking for
Something
sheds over there.
we
Like, stick a target here.
Or it floated down the river.
Yeah, oh,
Well, the crop floated down.
I've got that on the Tacticam too. That's what's funny on that is I was checking my Tacticams that next morning and I was like, "Where is my crocodile?" I was like, "Oh, there it is." But ended up being he landed in a good spot. We didn't have to do a lot of movement. We just had to cut some brush down for the Tacticam to still get the picture. So
Before we get into hunting and bows and arrows and all that stuff, how can somebody, if they're a listener, like find Rolling Bones? How do they
No, sure.
talk to somebody or website? Or,
Yeah, if you want to reach out to me on Facebook and Pam, it's Mike and Pam Pitts. I think I'm not 100% sure. Reach out to Adam, the Tulsa hub. Somebody. We've got 81 advisors nationwide, so we can pretty much cover you. I've got members. Most of my members are in Iowa and Louisiana, of all things. I got
Yeah.
very few Oklahoma members. You want to hunt and you want to save money. It's worth looking into.
100%.
or save stress and time.
Yeah,
Like that's the main reason. It's not even about saving money for me at this point. It's about I don't want to keep track with all the deadlines and dates and how it stresses me out. I don't like it.
I'm going straight. Well, I'm stealing from Trump. We're not making America great again. We're making hunting affordable again.
Yeah, for sure. And that's like back to that thing I was talking about with Cannon, man. I want to be able to set him up where he's 18, 20 years old and can I'm gonna be 50 years old when he gets old enough to go do some of these bighorn
there's
hunts, and I'll
there's
be like,
trophy units in Colorado. You better have 35
Yeah,
points to even think about drawing. I'm
I'm
43.
like, I'll just be
It'll
Camp
be-
Cook.
more
Yeah.
as time goes by. You know,
So I'm 43. There's no way
Yeah.
I can start now and ever acquire enough
Right.
points and still
Yep.
be in mountain shape.
Yep,
Yep.
that's the whole thing. I
Better
told
be in
Cannon.
mountain shape in 70,
Drop you off with a
75.
helicopter.
You can do it.
That's what I told my boy. I said, you don't realize this. You're 20. I said, if it don't change, I said, 35 years of putting in. I
Yeah.
said, you're gonna be 55 when
55.
you try to go do
Right.
that.
Yep.
I said, try being knocking on 80.
I'm in more shape because Cannon's 7 and I'm 43 years old too. So
And you're in more shape.
and I'm in worse shape.
That's no different. I told my nephew. So you can start building points for most Western states at 8.
Yep.
And my nephew's boy's 8 years old. I said, you've got 10 years. He's going to graduate. I said, you want to do something different for someone's senior or their high school graduation?
That's
Oh,
it right
dude.
there.
I said, he's got enough points at that time. You could pretty much go elk hunting anywhere in the United States
Yeah.
that you want to go.
Yep. That's 100% one of my outlooks on that is, man, when he's 18.
And it's a lot
Even
cheaper
before.
than a truck.
Yeah.
Well, you know, the rolling bones, the tags, the points, lifetime license, those are all great things to invest for a kid when they turn 18.
You got to look at the investments.
Mm-hmm. For
And
sure.
my dad got me one when I was 18. Like, I don't know, it's like $425 back then. I don't know what it
Not
is now.
now. Damn near
It's a
1,000.
combo. The combo.
I've had mine since '99, so
Yeah.
I can only imagine the money I've saved since then.
Yeah,
No,
I've had
yeah.
mine since 2000. So yeah,
I think we added it up right now. It's $900, and if you had it for 10 years, I think you made your money back.
oh, mine's paid for. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
10
and
times
yours
over.
even more, like less. You had less years to pay yours back.
We saved points on a credit card one time and bought Grayson's with our
Yep.
points back on
Yeah,
that. So.
I mean,
Yeah.
But his was
definitely worth it
700
if you're gonna be in the outdoors at all. Like, even Teresa, so she just fishes. She doesn't hunt. She doesn't care about hunting. She loves it. The Canyon loves it, but she fishes. So we got her lifetime fishing license. So,
Yeah, the combo. I love to fish.
yep.
well, let's talk bows. Matthews guy, or was
Previous Matthews guy.
historically speaking a Matthews guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, this will be the second bow company that I've shot their bow since '96.
Pretty brand loyal then.
Have been, yeah.
Yeah.
I own one Hoyt Carbon Matrix as soon as they first come out. That was the first time I'd left Matthews since '96, and now that I'll be representing or shooting the Darton
The Darton.
So you got you a Sequel 35 ST2.
ST2.
Gonna set it up here in a little bit. We might do a live TikTok while we set it up. If you're all right with that. So,
I'm good with it.
but the
First thing first, though, you're ordering some unbound strings for it, right?
You know I got it. Nick has the best strings on the market,
telling you,
hands
man.
down.
Yeah.
I like mine. They're pretty
And
too.
his turnaround is just absolutely insane.
Customer service, 100%. That's one thing I preach to everybody when I talk about him is it has, the strings are great, and what he does is great, but the customer service for me, when you deal with industry people and talk to people all the time, and even other bow companies, bow string companies, that's a big selling point for me. And our story on how we met Nick and how we even got in tune with all this stuff, man, was a 2-day turnaround. Like, Jeremy's sister won some strings on Instagram, I believe.
Yeah, it
it
was
was one of those
Instagram
like,
giveaway.
share things, and
So people actually win those.
I'm telling you.
yeah, Candace won a set, and
We were waiting on another brand before we went to TAC, and it had already been 2 or 3 weeks, and we were
it was 6 weeks.
and
Still didn't have the strings in.
but we were like a couple weeks out from going to TAC, Broken Bow, and she won those and had them in 2 days, and we're like, no. Jeremy looked them over and put them on her bow, and was like, man, it's bloodline fibers, same as the other, like let's give him a call. And we ordered them and had them in 2 days, man. They were at Jeremy's house on our bow like 3 days later.
Yeah.
It's so tight of a window. I don't even know how he stretches them. I'm like,
He doesn't sleep.
I'm
He's a
telling you,
robot.
He can't, he's a robot.
And he's so daggone busy. I mean, you have to, when his site opens up and you want strings, you better get on
get on it,
or
yeah.
you're waiting another month.
Yeah, it's to see where it all started with Nick on that and where we are now.
It's funny
and
is like
knowing him.
that year we were doing odd vein out
Oh, yeah.
stuff pretty
Yeah.
hard and heavy and I give him a call and say, hey man, you want to do like a little collaboration, sponsorship, giveaway thing? And he's like, I'm just one guy in my garage. I don't want any more than what I already have now. I was like, all right, that's cool.
Yeah.
And we kept ordering strings from him. And
Anybody that came to Alvane out and needed strings, 'cause Jeremy did a little bit of helping everybody out here. And hey, we're getting strings from Unbound. Well, next thing you know, he calls like, hey, I got some OVO speed knocks we're going to put on. Anybody that orders from that, we'll put those on. Then it came time for our inaugural shot event. You all right over there,
I
buddy?
got the hiccups.
We were looking for sponsors, core sponsors, and that guy jumped
Hit
on
him
board,
up,
man.
and he jumped right on board, and
He's-
we've been rocking ever since.
Ever since. So shout out to Unbound and Nick Dalwa.
Oh, yeah. Good strings and a legendary mustache.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's a legendary shot, too.
Yeah, you can shoot all right, I guess.
So we'll get the Unbounds on there when you get them in. We're going to do an initial setup with the factory strings, right?
Yeah.
Yep. And then you got, I saw a little president. Is that a driver?
That is a driver.
Yeah. There you go.
The driver. Nice.
3-pin, .10.
Nice.
Nice.
You got a 3-pin?
Mm-hmm.
The
One in.
Ranger up pin or the side pins?
Nah, side.
You got side pins.
Yeah.
Oh,
Green. Was it green, red, green?
okay.
Green, red,
All right.
green.
All right. That's my setup. That's what I run. What rest you putting on?
I went with a.
With the HHA, didn't you?
No, it ain't.
QAD?
Yeah, I went with a QAD this time. I wanted to play around. I'm a huge fan of the Hamskys. Best rest on the market, in my personal opinion. But going from a 33-inch bow to a 35, I kind of like the weight and everything where it was at. So I wanted to try to match it with accessories.
Go a little bit lighter.
Yeah.
Yep. Gotcha. Makes sense.
Anything else we're doing special with this thing?
Not that I know.
What
of.
color strings you gonna put on it?
I ain't decided that yet.
Yeah.
I gotta find something that works for that green.
They're probably gonna be green, or some kind of green and brown.
I tell you, I hate orange with a passion, but orange strings on a green bow looks
Yeah.
pretty pimp.
I don't know. I've seen Bergie put some on the other day, and man, I like orange anyway,
Yeah.
but
I can't stand that color, but it does
It
look
pops,
good
man.
on that bow.
Mine are purple, pink, and blue.
yeah,
she
I'll
went
tell you
cotton
what.
candy.
Mine's pretty bright.
The pink. I'm gonna
Pink
tell
looks
you
good
right
too,
now. The
yeah.
pink pops on some strings. I saw a bunch of pink strings at Tulsa this year. Like, holy cow! Like, and they look good, man.
Oh, they do. That's why I run pink fletchings
Yeah.
on almost everything.
Yep.
Louisiana, I run pink wraps with the brightest yellow fletchings ever, and I quit doing that when Jeremy took out like 6 knobs
I
when we were
did
playing
not.
around.
I did not.
Thought
Easy
they were
to-
When
right
he,
easy
when, he
to
there.
get.
can, when he can see that arrow, it ain't no good for you.
I'm telling you. Yeah.
I saw Ashley. You know, they got the Inside Outdoor guys got their dartings in, and she ordered a stone colored and got pink strings put on hers. And she went up to Amber and she goes, I had to do this because I saw your bow with the Grave Hoyt
Yeah.
with the pink string. She goes, it looks so good. I wanted to do that on mine. So I thought that was
That
pretty
robin egg blue and pink really pops with gray.
Yeah.
It's just
I like
an
the
awesome
purple circling on
combination.
mine, though. I
Yeah.
had to put it in there, too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
you-
yours look good too. I like
You're
that.
still running the Desert Matthews at the tan. Everybody in the world seems like they have that color.
Yeah.
So she's like, I can't tell my bow apart off the
I was
rack.
having a hard time finding my bow.
I want the brightest thing ever. She said, I want pink. I'm like, you hate pink.
I can find it, though.
Yep.
Well, are you going to hunt with that this year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I go back and forth. But for the last 5-6 years, maybe 7, I've all hunted with this traditional equipment, long bows and recurves. Going back to the 35-inch axle to axle, I wanted something that I can go back and forth between target and hunting with.
Oh, it's perfect.
That's what everybody's. You're gonna hunt with a 35-inch bow? Like, dude, I hunt with a 62 or a 66-inch bow all the time. 35's still short.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've got an RX-7 or RX-8. They're both 34-inch axle. The 35 it doesn't feel any bigger. That's all I hunt with. Once you kind of go longer axle, and I say longer than your 29s, your 30s, and your 31s, the forgiveness you get in it, you still got good speed. Shot accuracy just is unparalleled.
It's crazy because I've always been a short axle to axle guy, 28 to 30. I got the 33.
Most of the time I shoot a short
Yeah.
axle to axle better.
I tell you what though,
not
it's
me.
made a difference for me. That on that sequel that I have, man, just that little bit of extra. When you start talking about forgiveness and stuff, I 100%, I don't shoot good enough to worry about any of that. But there is a difference, and you can tell. Like I noticed, like some of my shots that I think are bad, I'm like and you know when as soon as you follow through, you're like I'm up or I'm down or I'm left or right. I'm like yeah, you're right, but you're only quarter to half inch right. And I'm like oh okay, it felt like it was gonna be worse than that. Like my 28-inch Hoyt that I had. If that shot was going to be 3 to 4 inches right, so there is a little bit of difference in that.
The shootability of these Dartons is absolutely unreal.
I love
Yeah,
mine.
and tunability, like I've been checking my tune because I'm a little paranoid about it. I guess I don't know. I'm running this ASA. I'm like neck and neck for shoot of the year, and like so. Every time I go out and practice, the next day before I go back out and practice, I'll just check it, see if I'm still shooting good, and if my tune's held, it's held 100%.
Oh, I can't wait to play with that system.
Yeah, it's good.
I don't like to tinker, and it's very simple. Like I'm not not your typical bow guy. Like I'm like here, Jeremy, get this thing ready, and then we're sighted in,
That's why I
and
do
even
it too.
sighting it
I'm
in.
like, here, fix this.
Yeah,
I broke it again.
I just like to
This
shoot.
is
Puts it
how
back
bad he
together.
is. He doesn't have one single arrow that matches, and so he buys some
I
arrows
do
from
now.
Tulsa Tackle the other day, and he's like, my arrow guy. I'm like, can you give me an arrow that I can cut it
Now.
down to the same length? No, I don't have one.
Now, that's not my fault. Adam shot my bow at the Buffalo the last little while, and I got home and I had no arrows, so I don't know if he kept them, if he gave them away, if he lost them all. I don't know. So Adam, I need 6 arrows, dude. But yeah, so I had to go buy some new arrows. So yeah,
Well, we don't know what to cut them down to.
I'll find something. We'll be all right. We'll be good. We'll be close.
See, that's it. Just think about that long.
You shoot it enough. Our
How
side
much you want to
didn't
wait?
look
I don't know.
Whatever. I'm not into
Whatever
that.
flies the best.
Yep.
No,
Tell me.
you
I just make
you
him
get
fix mine.
picky. There's a certain window I want all my arrows to fall in.
Yeah. And I 100%
For a
agree. When
hunting
you're
arrow,
trying,
for sure.
when you're
430
hunting
to
and
450, that's where it needs to be.
and you start shooting longer distances, that's one thing. I come from back 4 or 5 years ago. I wasn't shooting over 30 yards, like 200-yard shot that I'm seeing these guys make out there now. I'm like, I wouldn't even try that shit 4 years ago. Like,
You can watch it, and since TAC come up when they started doing the caribou,
yeah,
the effectiveness that people are with
Dude.
the archery equipment now is just
It's insane.
ridiculous.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
mean, I can remember
We got guys blowing up clay pigeons at 200 yards now. Like, what the hell?
yeah, we're moving it to 300 next year.
or quit spotting them, quit walking them in.
Yeah, just have to let you guys shoot or whatever. Yeah. No, we like to spot them though. We like watching them in because we like getting them in there. Like the prizes are there to win. That's kind of my thought process.
We
on
just
it.
need to get them to sponsor a bow for every time it gets hit, not just one and done.
Yeah,
That's every time it gets hit
yeah,
for the weekend.
man. Yeah, we're
The
gonna
line would be
busy. Be
It'd
busy.
be ridiculous.
yeah.
It's amazing to me how many people just want to waste a ticket, or I say waste a ticket, to pay a ticket to see if
Try.
they can even hit the thing, and then
Just to
once
try,
they
yeah.
hit that thing, well, here's 5 more tickets, or here's this, like
Well, most people you don't think about, they don't have the access to the resources
Nobody
to get
get-
out
yeah.
and shoot distance.
who's got a 200-yard target in their backyard?
Our
right
guys
now?
have live in town. They got maybe 20, 30 yards in the back if they're lucky. And
Yeah, and that's a huge deal with like Abel Sadler.
Yeah.
That is a great thing to practice out of the saddle and shoot if you live in a HOA or in town where
Another
you don't have
product
the
right there,
trees.
yeah, that we
It's
use.
fantastic. When I first started, I'm like, there's trees everywhere. I'm like, not everybody lives like I do.
right.
Well, not only that, like for my house, how I have my targets and my range set up, it's down essentially a power line cut that ends, and then I added to it. I don't have a tree accessible. I'd have to move all my targets to get to the right tree to set up and shoot it. So like that scenario is perfect for me. Even in shops, bow shops, guys that are selling saddles, instead of trying to put a dang telephone pole or a fake tree in, you can move that thing in and out of the way anytime you want. So, awesome product.
No, it's phenomenal to get people acquired or adjusted to it, just to feel and trust the equipment.
Yep.
Sure.
Yeah, there was a bunch of people there that tried them out, like,
Yeah.
because I'd ask them, I said, you ever sit in a saddle?
Exactly.
And no, I don't know if I can do that. I was like, go hop on that one, because, you're this high off the ground.
Yeah.
You're going to be
Right.
okay. So they would go try it out.
And anybody, look at Hoot got in it with his iron titanium knee.
Yeah.
He was up and down that thing so many times
Oh, yeah.
this
He
year.
liked shooting out of that thing. I saw
Mhm.
it. He was
Yeah,
up there quite a bit.
he was excited when he won that
Yeah, I
because
bet.
he's like, man, that buzzard is he's going to get some miles on it this year.
Yeah.
So, yep.
Well, so you're going to hunt with the Darden. What's the hunt plan this year for the Pitts?
I'm gonna hunt with my Matthews.
All Oklahoma? We going out of state?
Right now, as far as I know, I've got one chance left to draw a main tag for
Maine moose. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got some mule deer hunts put in for in Texas, which have their draw system very similar to Oklahoma, where you pick areas where you want to hunt.
Gotcha.
Very allotted tags, but I think putting in with my dad, try to get him down and out of state and get him to do some kind of hunting this year. But for the most part, I'll be back to. I've got a handful of deer that I've targeted at my place if they made it through. There's one in particular, but most of the time I spend all my time in southeast Oklahoma running around on public land.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the kids drawing hunts, that's going to be my biggest focus until their hunts are over.
And you're
Awesome.
I
Tag
just go
along.
wherever he
Tag
goes.
along. Yeah.
That's my
Nothing
fair, that's
solo
my
for you?
fair weather hunter right there.
Yeah.
If it's
I
not
hate
hot
being
and it's
cold.
not cold, she's out there.
Hey, Amber used to be that way.
So you only hunt like 8 days then?
I was like,
I hate being cold. I cannot stand it.
No,
And so by the
in all
house,
actuality, she loves
I can
to hunt
see the house.
She's an early season
And I
hunter.
head
The
in
warmer,
if I
the
get
better.
Ugh.
yeah.
Amber doesn't like the cold either, but you need to talk to her about some of the stuff that she wears to keep her warm.
And I gotta stay
once we
awake
get
long
to
enough to hunt too.
about mid end of November, once the rut starts just trickling off, then she lives on. Nah, I'm not going to.
See, that's where I'm getting I'm
Yeah.
just getting fired up.
Yeah,
That time.
I love late season.
I do
hunting.
too. That's one of my favorites. Yep.
I gotta move.
August
a lot.
25th. Anything before that, I'm like, I'm going to do it but I really don't want to. It's too hot. Yeah. Amber used to be kind of a warm weather. Now I was really proud of her. Last year, there was 3 or 4 times where it was pretty cold here, and she hadn't filled her tag yet. Of course, I already filled mine, and she's like waking me up. You want to go out and stand? I was like, no, I'm good. She got dressed, went out there in the dark by herself, climbed up in the tree by herself. A couple hours later, I'd see her back. She goes, that's all I can stand. 3, 4 hours.
That might not be a
That's
big
right.
deal to
It's
some people, but
28 degrees outside.
But knowing Amber she didn't know what a bow was until she met Jeremy. So
Yeah, this is her second year hunting. This past season was her second year of hunting. She tagged out. No, she didn't tag out. Her first year, she filled a tag 45 minutes into her first hunt ever.
ruined.
Like, we were walking behind the house here, and I had to feed her up, and it was October 1st. I'm like, let's get you out there and get you in the double stand. I'll sit up there with you. And there was deer at the feeder. So we put a little stalk on them, got within about 30 yards and got busted. They ran off, went ahead and climbed up the stand. And like 10 minutes later, here they come back. And it was a doe, but they come back and she's just shaking like a leaf on a tree. Missed by a mile. Like, I don't know what she was aiming at. It was a 28-yard shot over the back. I'm like, she said, did I hit it? I'm like, no, you missed. And she's like still shaking. She's like, dang it. She says, well, are we done? I was like, no, that deer's going to come back in about 10 minutes. Just knock another arrow, get ready, calm your nerves. 10 minutes later, here comes that doe, a little sneaky. She's like on high alert now, but she gave Amber a good broadside shot on it. Amber made a good shot. It didn't go 20 yards. It hit the ground. And
Didn't go 20.
The excitement on her, she started crying. She's shaking. She's like, oh, my God, oh, my God. So we got it drug up to the house, took it to the processor. This is like 45 minutes into her first hunt, right? Dropped it off the processor, got back to the house, parked the truck, and she says, can we go back out? And it wasn't dark yet. And this was an evening hunt. I was like, I kind of told her a little fib. It's like, there's death in the woods. Let's let it settle down for a little while. The deer know it's like death out there.
I said that last year was the first year Pam's actually hunted. She's went hunting a handful of times, went on a hog hunt.
Off and on,
She
just-
shot 3D with me for 21 years.
Yeah.
But we got her shooting a longbow when she drew out with McAllister with us last year.
That was fun.
And
enjoyed
I
it.
shot got lucky and shot the first rock buck of the year. there on the very first hunt of the year, 5 minutes after legal shooting.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
no kidding.
I sent her messages, hey, I got one down. She's like, I'm on my way. I'm like, I just shot it.
I didn't
I
care.
don't
I was
care.
throwing stuff down, packing up my bag. I'm like, let's
Ready
go
to
find
go?
it.
So she helped me bud trail it and get it to the road, called them. I went and checked it in, did everything back at the base camp with them. And they brought me out there and dropped me off. She decided she wanted to come in and sit with me, so she crawled up under a hedge apple. And we'd seen one hog Friday evening, and that was it. Saturday morning, we had two 160, 170 class deer come in 18 yards from her, and she had her hands in her pocket and went to pull it out, and that Velcro on her glove touch, and that was all it took. But she's been
he
hooked
looked at
since
me,
then.
Yeah.
and then I was like, oh, I gotta get my hand out. I can't shoot without my hand. I got my bow, and I tried to go a little more, and just kept. I was like, this is getting bad. And he's drawn back on the one in front because he had a pass to get. He could shoot another one. His
Yeah.
first
Yeah.
one was big enough.
Yeah.
And I'm like, just shoot it. And he can't, he's in the tree and I'm under it. And this bug's just staring at me, watching me try to get this Velcro. I'm like,
That's the first time I've been at full draw on a deer that was pushing Booner, and I let it walk, trying to help her get her
God.
I
first
finally
deer.
pulled it out. And as soon as I did, they're gone.
Yeah.
You put
I
a,
will
you
tape
put a
it
160
or
class at
something from
18
now
yards
on.
with someone on the ground. Yeah, she's all about bow hunting now.
Yeah. Oh, I'm
Like
telling
that
you.
was worth it for me. I don't even need that other deer. I got
Yeah.
a hunting buddy.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
stalked some does around for a while because they kept coming in and then they'd stand just where I couldn't get to them and then they'd go back out a bit. And I get very small attention span, so like they'd take off a ways
I can
and then I'd
attest to
walk
this,
a little
everybody.
ways and they'd take off and I'd walk a little ways and I followed them around for a while. But we were the only ones in that area, so it was okay.
So you only got to hunt McAllister once then so far?
I've only hunted with him in McAllister the one
You-
time.
you've hunted
yeah,
it.
but
I've
a
drawn
bunch of
in
times.
5 times the last
Yeah.
9 years. I was hoping to go 5 for 5 or
Yeah.
5 at 10 and run a 50% average this year.
Yeah.
But I struck out.
No, dang it.
I'll pick it up next.
My feed was filled up with everybody, after the draw this year on McAllister hunt, so
Yeah.
it's
So we talked
definitely
to
a place
somebody
everybody
today that's been
wants.
putting in for 7 years straight and hadn't drawn. I was like, when I first started applying, I wouldn't even put in for the elk hunting because I wanted McAllister so bad. I did not want anything to kick my chances out. And it took me 14 years to draw in to McAllister the first time, and since then I've drawn 5 out of 10
Yeah,
years.
it's weird
Yeah.
how that works. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, back in the day, I drew out every year on a Oklahoma draw hunt, and then I went like 3 or 4 years I didn't draw anything. I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird.
You
Comes
drew
in
in
spells.
Sequoia this year?
Sequoia State Park Resort
Yeah.
this year, so
I don't know anything about it. You
I
keep
just
telling me you can feed them out of your hand.
I have some memories when I was a kid and I got some pictures when I was probably 30. My dad used to do all the bass fishing for the PBA, and they'd had a tournament there, and we got there in usually September, so all the bucks were still in velvet, and I remember they'd be out fishing, and me and my brother would be out. There was a steakhouse or a restaurant called Silver Dollar Cafe right down the road. Used to a long time ago. This is early
Had
the
a
90s.
chicken fried steak. the
Yeah,
size of your
giant
head.
chicken fried steak. But they had these rolls. Well, we had a bunch of them. Didn't have anything to feed the deer. Well, we started peeling off these rolls. Man, they loved them. I bet I had 15, 20 deer. We were hand feeding. So I'm probably gonna take some rolls with,
Yeah,
me up-
yeah, that's what I was
with us,
saying.
and I'm gonna Hansel and Gretel a trail
Some
all the way to
Stella-
my stand
Stella
when we get there.
donuts.
So yeah, I know there's some big deer there. When people found out we drew that hunt, I've had several people say, "Hey, we were in it last year. I got some
Yeah.
spots," or my kid drew out and shot this 140-inch buck out of there, and I'm like, man, I just want to go. It's just like
It's a new spot. Yeah.
new spot, new thing. The Oklahoma hunts for me are just more just to get out and like we put in together.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things. Like I don't go out intentionally looking for a big deer. It's awesome if you do, but when you have a spot that the potential is there, like it gets you a little antsy. Like when Cannon drew that James Collins, I didn't even care about where I drew. Like I was just like, oh man, the chances for this kid just went up quite a bit here, and I'm more excited about that than any of the hunts that I got going.
Yeah, I like the Oklahoma hunts, and it's more about the destination
Yeah.
and the journey than it is like, for me anyways, than it is
Yeah.
like
That's
getting
my
on a
favorite
monster
thing
hunt.
about McAllister. You got 175, 250 people in deer camp.
Yeah.
That's a blast.
I bet.
And that's what one of the guys I got to meet and hang out with last year. Every morning we were the first two at the campfire drinking coffee, visiting, and he's the first person I run into
Yeah.
at Eufaula.
Oh,
At
no
our shoot.
kidding.
Yeah. So we hit it up and just started talking
That's
again.
awesome, man.
That's cool.
The camaraderie about that, like that's one thing I really miss, and we've kind of talked about it. Like, man, the old deer camps. I remember getting up and when I was 6, 7, 8 years old with my dad and going hanging out with his buddies, and may not have shot anything, but you know, I just miss those days of hanging out and everybody.
Even the check-in stations.
Yeah, check-in
opening
stations.
week, opening morning of rifle season. If you
Oh,
were at
yeah,
that Jiffy Mart getting a Mountain Dew,
Yeah,
or a coffee,
exactly. Yeah.
We were at the pawn shop
Knocking
in
at
Pryor.
everybody's
That's where
butt,
we
yeah.
went.
We
Yep,
went
old
there,
Gids
too.
down there in Pryor. That's
Jiffy
where
Mart.
we hung out a lot.
Yeah, because my brothers always hunted, and that's what every time they get them.
Mm-hmm.
I was always around there doing it.
I miss the camaraderie that
like to sit in the woods out
the old ways that used to be with deer camp and
100%.
the check-in
Yeah,
stations.
man. It's just it's a different feel.
And if you got a good buck, going to the check station is
Yeah,
like
you
a
get
chance to
some
show it
bragging,
off a little
yeah.
bit. Like, look what I got.
Or just
you
be
know?
the first person with the buck to check
Yeah.
it in there. Like, hey guys, I'm drinking coffee and eating donuts and sausage rolls while you guys are out there doing it. Like, that's the whole thing, man. Like, it was
There's
always
a little
fun.
bit of bragging rights there.
Yep.
You bet.
Getting to gawk at other people's
Yep.
trophies.
When we first started, when we got the camper and stuff, and first started going with him, because I told him I wasn't sleeping on the ground in a tent. It's just not my thing. But we got a camper, and I started going. Then I cooked all the time. So yeah, they'd come back and I'd have everything ready. It was pretty cool because there's a bunch of them. We just hang out and.
At one point, I
visit,
think
it
our
was
muzzleloader
just
camp, we
fun.
went down to the Kiamishi Mountains every year for muzzleloader with a bunch of us when I worked at Center Lift and a bunch of the guys from the.
I've seen some videos.
We've had
Seen some
18
videos.
people in
Yeah.
deer camp. I mean, there would literally be trailers and tents down the logging road, and then everybody meet together and eat a meal. I mean,
It was,
That's
it was
absolutely
really
The
cool.
laughs and stuff that I've seen, the pranks with the snake.
I don't know
That
how
would
we
be
ain't
Tony.
killed Tony Martin yet.
That's funny because we know a bunch of the group that you go with. You know, we all worked at Center Lift there before, and so it's funny. When I know you guys are down there, it was kind of always like if it didn't show up on my feed, I was going to your guys' pages just to see when you guys were messing with him, because you knew it was going to happen.
Oh,
at
it
some
was
point.
going to happen.
I don't know
Or
how
we
many
bought a
bowls
Walmart,
of chili
they
I've
even
seen
make it
fly
there.
or
Coffee.
whatever.
Been a lot
You
of
don't want to
coffee
stand
thrown.
up. That's one thing I've learned. If I'm ever hunting with you guys, I'm never going to be standing by Tony. Ever. Like,
Worst one I ever seen, and they put a black lead rope in his sleeping bag, in his pop-up camper, and he like to flip it on its side
I
to try
bet
to
it
get
looked like a
out.
damn Flintstones camper out there moving around. Yeah, those are good
It don't
times,
matter,
man.
air horn, snake, it's very easy to get
Yeah.
Tony. You just don't get within arm's reach.
And that's funny because the cranks are right up my alley. I like doing all that.
One year we went down there, we were hunting. I don't even know what we was hunting. We ended up shooting dragonflies out of there with a pistol or
Turkey
something.
hunting.
We were so bored. It's like nothing.
We went down there to dove hunt when we were checking
Okay.
trail cameras. There a couple of clear cuts were just absolutely loaded in doves, so we decided to go out there, take shotguns if we was gonna be down there. To check trail cameras for the last time before season anyway, and there was nothing but dragonflies, so we just started pulling out our pistols and had a competition to shoot
Trying to shoot
dragonflies out
dragonflies
there.
Sounds like something you do.
Duck
blind.
We're bored. So.
I remember hunting this pond one time with you.
No, here we
It
go.
was just starting to get daylight. And you know, like you could just barely make out birds coming in. And there were no birds coming in. And we're sitting there and all of a sudden, boom! Oh, my bad. A freaking gnat got in his eye.
No, it wasn't one, Nat. So you're just.
He's seen a little freaking
No.
gnat in his eye, and he went.
It was a swarm of gnats. And when it's early morning, you're waiting up like it's shooting light. And all of a sudden this group of gnats come in. I'm straining my eyes looking in the sky anyway. And they looked like they were coming in. They came closer. And I did. I shot some
I
gnats.
stuck into the light. I've never shot it
Yeah.
Brian,
Yeah,
now.
you were a pond hopper.
I set out quite a bit. I told
I
Steve
tell
a
you.
lot though.
But I will say duck hunters' legal shooting light is different than every other hunter's legal shooting light.
And everybody
and
did.
Brian's is different than every other duck hunter's.
You know,
And like,
allegedly.
if anybody's listening that ever wants to go on a fun duck hunt, go with Brian. You're either going to get in jail, you'll be trespassing for sure. You don't have permission on the pond. Like you said, we have permission on. You're going to get stuck in the mud. Something's going to get shot that wasn't supposed to get shot. What's the statute of limitations on all that?
Oh,
We'll
God.
have to edit this part out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we done some. We were younger back then, and
But they were fun.
it was fun, sort of. I was always stressed out.
You're stressed out all the time.
I mean, I was stressed out. Yeah, and then there was the Baton Death March on the north end of Bluebell Lake. We always thought
that was not me.
you were there.
Yeah, that was, I had so many blisters that wore my damn waders in. And back then, I didn't have anything that was worth a shit equipment wise. So I had some old hand me down waders. And I just had regular old socks. Yeah, they were in my toes by the time we got our 3 mile walk in the swamp.
Carrying decoys,
Oh, God.
guns. Yeah, those kinds of. You have to love misery to be a drunk hunter.
It's just travel book on a fishing pole because we didn't have waders. I'd have to
Yeah.
fish for them after the shot.
Yeah, we've done that before.
Did that a bunch.
Oh, I went on one duck hunt in my life.
That's
I went and drew out on the GRDA land they got up there in Ottawa County. I seen one duck all weekend.
Oh, no kidding. I've had a few of those days.
right on Wednesday when we were working second shift.
Yeah, no kidding.
Do all that work and not see a duck.
Yeah.
Well, what else you guys got? Is there anything you want to talk about before we get off the podcast here?
Not that I can think of. I'm already looking forward to next season.
Oh,
It's already
Next-
started.
hunting season or next shot season?
Next shot season.
Yeah, we are too. Like we're
Yeah.
we're kind of taking a little bit of a R&R for a week or two, then we'll start pounding doors again. Reaching out to. I think the plan's going to be, and we still need to discuss it a little bit more, but I think we're going to try to do all 5 events the same as they were in 2025 and build those up a little bit.
The feedback on the 5 events we had this year was phenomenal. I mean,
I don't think there's any reason to upgrade a venue.
no, I mean,
My only 2 cents is swap Louisiana and Utah and get out of that pollen.
oh my God,
The pollen.
that is one.
I got a whole box of size on it.
Well, so the backstory so the listeners and everybody knows like why we choose dates and locations. A lot of times it's out of our hands. You follow it as like, hey, here's the window that we're okay with you coming and doing this because anything past this is too many campers and too many boaters out there. Anything before that's too cold.
Spring break.
So they give us a 2-week window there where we kind of are locked into that. And then, Kansas is they're hunting up until that weekend was like,
Kansas alone.
Yeah.
Right.
well,
that
we
week.
say that, but it was open the weekend of turkey season too.
Yeah.
That kind of hurt us on some vendors and sponsors.
Yeah.
People that we wanted to be there, like we're turkey hunting. Yeah, I get it. And then Post Oak was, June for them was like, hey, that's the month we need to do it. So some of these things are not always dependent on us; it's dependent on the venue too. But I agree. I think you start out in Louisiana where it's a little bit warmer down there. We could do probably late February if we can
Work out.
match the dates up with you follow to still be maybe the same weekend.
It's so funny though because like when you start looking at the venues and stuff, like each one has its own special thing about it, right? Louisiana, that was our first time down there. Fallen was horrible. It was just clouds of
Hey, it
yellow.
didn't bother me. I
but-
grew up in Georgia around pine trees, so I was used to it.
But that place, for being in Louisiana, you got a little bit of a mixture of terrain down there that I like. Now, yes, it was a little flat, but
Was
you
it
had
awful flat there?
swamp. You had some. I mean, it made great for the African targets we had. We had a little savanna looking area out there, then the typos, like
Oh, the RBO course through the pines.
oh yeah, RBO course through the pines, and then the Wild Creek course. It went through that big creek with the big tall. I mean, there was some beautiful stuff out there. Like it made
I
for.
got lost on it once.
And the Wild Creek, it's
And then
got
I got the snakes. And
Yeah.
it's
it's got a permanent tie bow.
Yeah.
arrow wrap sponsorship on
Yeah,
pine
tree,
tree.
yeah.
I'm sure
30
there's a
feet
few.
up on the tree.
I'm sure there's a few out there.
The only time you can shoot head level and be 30 foot up in the tree.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's no problem getting out. I walk behind the turkey. I'm like, oh.
I wanted so bad to shoot across that, but we could not find a way to get across it. It was easy, but that's why I had to stick the turkey there. So that way everybody could at least see that and be like, oh, that's awesome. But yeah, everything's got its, there's a purpose for it. You follow. There's not. I say not great. It's camping. It's an outdoor venue. There's no awesome lodge or anything like that for party or any of that after party. But the courses there are some of the most talked about courses that
The
we've
terrain
ever
is
done,
great.
man.
Yeah.
Like the terrain wise out there, it's freaking awesome. Like so, it's tough to not throw you follow back in.
Yeah.
And it's always been a great turnout.
Yep.
That area of Oklahoma, we get a lot of shooters from around that area, and
We draw from Tulsa, draw from
Yeah.
the city.
Easy drive.
you're an hour away from Oklahoma
We
City.
got our faithful trad shooter from San Antonio.
San Antonio,
Wayne
Wayne
come up.
coming up. Yep.
Yeah, you
Dallas,
follow
we
good.
had Dallas there, Dallas and Tulsa. Like it's centrally, kind of almost centrally located one in Oklahoma, so it works out. And then Kansas, man, that place, I can't say enough about Kansas. I really like that place, man.
No, that was by far my favorite venue.
Yeah.
Just the terrain wasn't what you were thinking or
Mhm.
expecting.
Yeah.
And for most people, they don't see pheasants
Yeah.
often. To get out there and see that, and the way that some of the courses were set up, it was
Yeah.
just
Yeah, I made good. And I think too, learning curve there, a little bit on some of the stuff, but we'll be able to, push the lodge a little more. We had a lot of people take advantage of it. Some people just didn't know and stayed in Airbnbs or just drove in. You get that lodge filled up with everybody, then the base camp's going to be popping even more because,
and that's one of my favorites. The main thing I really loved about Kansas, other than it was the first time we've had an after party.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a party, but like a social area.
Yeah,
You
that
could
was
talk and hang out.
We're kind of careful when we say after party.
Yeah,
We're not
yeah.
like
Yeah,
going
we're
back
not
and getting
far.
drunk. It was just a social hour. Everybody's
Sit back.
hanging out, talking.
Have a good time.
The
Yeah, I mean,
sponsors
kids
were
were there. Yeah, sponsors were there. Ben, Nick, and Centif. That was an awesome. It just the all around experience there was a really good one. Same with Post Oak though too. I mean, we just didn't have that after party. We got some things to work out there. I think we could probably do that.
Yeah.
There.
Well, and they
eventually we want
acknowledge,
to get there.
they acknowledge too, like next year, they're going to
Yeah.
leave all the lodges open for shot to book, you know.
Being the first time that we're in some of these places, they don't really know what we're about, and then it's tough to explain what we do until it actually happens and we show up, and then they're like, oh, okay.
It's no different than anybody that shot 3D at a local range.
Yeah.
Or they've heard attack and then show up and see what we have, and their minds are
Yeah.
blown.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
It's something
You have to
for
experience it
everybody.
before you really. We can talk about it all we want, but until you're there and do it, you don't really know what the atmosphere is, what the camaraderie is, what like the course layouts are, like what the difference is, right? And for the venue, they had no idea. You're going to go in the woods and shoot some targets. They had no earthly idea, and that's not their thing. Like none of those guys have a bow.
I'll never forget we were setting Tacticam up on the probably the coolest Tacticam shot we had at Tulsa, probably in all, but on top of the hill there, and shot 10 Tybo's course, and Jeremy comes up with a side by side full of the office execs and stuff and the HR people from Post Oak, and they got up there, and it was some of their first time to even be up there.
Yeah.
On that.
They've
spot.
never been there before.
And
On their own property.
Oh, wow, this is so beautiful up here. Like it. So it was once they saw that and see their looks on their face, like, wow, this is what you guys are doing out here. Like that was kind of a neat experience for me to be able to see their faces. Like, oh,
I like how y'all blended the ASA with
Yeah.
shot this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. ASA predominantly owns the southeast part of the United States, and TAC owns pretty much the northwest.
Yep.
But to combine the two and give target shooters something they haven't seen,
Yep.
to watch how many people that's all this shots ASA, I'm like, dude, this is a blast.
yeah. Oh man.
It's still hard to get them to cross over.
It's hard to get them.
Even when they're at the same venue, like they come for the qualifier, half of them are like, "Deuces out, we'll see you." Like, really, come on, man.
But there
Chance
are-
with a side by side up here.
Yeah, but there are.
Bunch of them
You
stay
see
for
a
the
lot.
novelty shop.
You see a lot.
It's not a 50-50 thing.
Yeah.
You know, and it's
I know Louisiana. I can say that
a
place.
lot of those guys hung around.
Hey, we got beat up on down there getting shot against, and it was a lot of the younger kids that
Oh,
were shooting
yeah,
at ASA.
Ethan
Ethan took a
took a
beating.
whooping.
I bet he had 60 challenges that day, if not more.
Yeah, I think I should stay away from the challenge.
Yeah.
The first day wasn't bad. Second day, I think I lost every one of them. First day I lost like two.
I had fun with the the kids that were shooting.
Yep.
Because I got called out, and he's like, "You picked the target." I said, "You're an ASA shooter." He said, "Yeah." I said, "That's your style of shooting." He said, "Yeah." I said, "All right, let's go to the 14 ring."
Yeah.
I said, "Let's get you ready for shoot offs." And
Yeah.
it ain't ever crossed his mind to shoot at it.
Yeah.
And he beat me.
Yeah.
He shot a 5, and I couldn't make myself pull out of the 10. So he was still closer to the 14 and beat me even though I had 5
Yeah.
points on him.
I think for me, that's one of the funnest parts of it. Seeing you guys get to shoot against everybody, all the other people shooting against us, like, that's one thing that I think for our novelty section that really stands out. The interactions that we get to have with everybody, and it makes it more personable. And that's one thing when we started this that we really wanted to reach out and try to do is just make it more personable. You know, I saw a lot of people at Tulsa that I've never seen before, and they're friends on Facebook already. You know, as soon as they leave that thing.
I think between the 5 shoots that we've hosted this year, I've gained 200.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Yeah, and it's a genuine thing, right? Like it's like we're not out there trying for that. Like that's just
No, we're not doing it for followers, right?
Yeah.
No, I mean, that's the beauty part about the hunting community and the shooting community. They want to support each other.
Yeah.
And that's why when you say, "Hey, my boy drew this," and your Facebook
Yeah.
starts blowing up,
Yeah,
you still have that community that
Yeah.
want to see other people be successful.
yeah, 100%.
It's an archery family, man.
Yep.
And, seeing some of the repeated faces and seeing the new faces, it's all good.
It's awesome.
And the talent of some of these kids.
Oh,
There's a young lady out of Kansas that called me out to shoot the button on the scarecrow at 40 yards. Paige Pierce and the rest of them women in the ASA better take all the opportunity to win in the next 4 years. Because this little lady hits 18 and turns pro. She wants all the smoke.
Yeah.
And she's good.
Yeah, that's
Very,
awesome.
very good.
I mean, I saw 13, 14-year-old kids getting in the Iron Bison, you know, and I saw grown men saying, "I ain't gonna shoot that." And a 13-year-old kid just got in it, dude. Come on. Little bit of ammo in my back pocket for that one. And they're shooting fat arrows. Some of them ASA kids, man, they're shooting their PS25s through there.
Oh, that
Zane
kid.
made it through
The Zane made it.
Yeah,
The one that stuck out to me is Louisiana.
yeah.
So
the
that
Nolan.
kid from the ASA, he destroyed every arrow he had.
Yeah.
Went
This
to
is
the
a good
bucket
story.
and
Yeah.
found a couple gold tip airstrikes.
Yeah.
And went and resighted his bow into them arrows and come back and got him.
Got it. Yeah, that's how you got it. He won the range.
That's
finals.
determination.
Yeah.
It was a good year.
Yeah.
Good year. What was awesome. Next year might add something special towards the end. Working on it. So.
Yep.
We'll be
It's always a bittersweet when it comes to the end, like, because it's kind of like, oh, what do I do with my hands now? Like,
well. It's
sit down.
a
Like,
couple weeks of just
I know.
recovering, and then it's, as you know, it's from
Yep.
now till November trying to get everything put together for
Yep.
next year.
Next year, then hunting prep and getting everything dialed for that.
Yep.
Scouting out of state hunts.
Yep. I'm excited. I'm excited for it all. Mostly, man, for me, it's get Cannon out there, man, trying to get him on his first, and that's what I'm pumped up about.
I miss my boy being able to draw out.
Yeah, 'cause he's 20 now, and he has his own little life stuff going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, he keeps going, "Hey, we're gonna put this other sight on your bow. You can shoot out there a little further now, and we'll come down and shoot it." I don't know if I got time. He will. He's just so busy right now. He finally got a real job and stuff, so.
Yeah.
Keeps him all busy, but I think he'll come back around to it, cause he was dealing with that alpha gal stuff and.
Oh, yeah.
And we got it, I think he's got it pretty much tacked down now. He seems to be,
And that stuff scares me,
he's-
especially after all the ticks at Tulsa.
well, that's after all his detox stuff and everything, he's back to eating hamburgers again.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, he's doing pretty good. So I think he may venture back out into the woods. It scared him for a
Oh,
few
sure.
years. Like, he was like, I don't want to go out there. But I think he's ready to go back. He went with us to McAllister last year. And
Yeah.
won. So
I know he's been out to
yeah,
at least one.
yeah.
He didn't make any this year. He
Yeah.
had to work every one of them, I think, except for Arkansas.
He's kind of like his mom, though. We got an arrow. Our shoot.
Yeah,
I
he'll
don't
say
care.
whatever. He don't care. Yeah, both of us same way. He was mouthing me about the bucket arrows I grabbed because I asked him if I'd shoot him. He's like, yeah, whatever.
Mhm.
Shot him, and then I actually, after he looked at them and saw what I was shooting, he didn't like what I shot out of it. But they work. You're
Yeah.
slinging recurve arrows at 200 yards. It doesn't matter what you're shooting.
Right.
Yes, it does. No, she had a 300 spine arrow that's rated for probably an 85 pound bow, and I looked at the other one, she's shooting a 600 spine.
Those are the two
Like-
that were behind
Yeah.
the buffalo.
Yeah. The 200.
Yeah, behind it. Yeah.
All right, so to wrap this up, we're going to do our two draws.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Two more names.
Two more
more
names for
names.
the side by side.
So the first one, we had Cameron Highfield and Kelly Dorr. I'm gonna hand you these, Mike. I'm gonna do the numbers and let me get it up on the screen here.
Did he at least number them for you?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, they're numbered.
I did.
And even circled if they drew it in the first time.
Yep. So if I call a number that's already been called, just tell me to pick it
The
up.
great thing is most of these names I can actually pronounce even
Yeah.
with my accent.
Unlike the ones in the Bible stuff that he's trying to read.
All right, let's get this up on the TV. Here we go. Brandon Wilspetter. What do we got? 67, I believe, altogether.
67.
67.
Okay, so for those of you that didn't see the last podcast, we're drawing two names for two of the six names today
Yep.
for the side by side giveaway later in July. It'll be like probably July 5th weekend. We already have two names, and they are, read them off, Mike.
Cameron Highfield and Kelly Dorr.
So we'll draw two more today, and then two more next week for the six, and then we'll take those six down to Antlers Motorsports and do a grand finale drawing. One of those six people are going to win side by side.
And for the Tacticam and African Hunt, we'll do all them at one time down there. With that we get another little deal we're gonna do with those. So, all right, here we go. Number 23.
Number 23 would be the legendary mustache of Kansas, Mr. Nick Dowell.
Oh, he's in.
You get I think he had 7 total entries. I think Chase Baggs had 7 total entries, and Philip Whitaker had 6 total. We got a bunch with 3 and 4. So,
All right,
there was that one.
one more time. 29.
Cole Hamlin.
Cole
Hamlin.
Hamlin.
All right, Cole.
Congratulations, guys. You're in the top 6 there on that one. So,
All right, stay tuned next week for the last 2 entries for that, and then we'll wrap this up. Thanks, guys, for coming.
yep,
Let's put a
Thank
bow
you,
together,
guys.
huh?
You bet.
for sure.
I think it's the longest I've ever owned a bow and not had it put together yet.
Sitting over there, like, when's Shelby going to tell me I can come over?
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome. Appreciate you guys.
Thanks. Go check out Rolling Bones. Give us a follow on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok now too. I think we might do a live TikTok on the boat put together. Just let people watch. And then appreciate you if you subscribe to our channel on YouTube as well. Thank you guys.
If you don't, you're missing out.
Missing out.
All right.